Jaden, Mia, Mike, Kevin, Emily, Antonio! So yeah, as I'm sure most of y'all know who are watching this video, Power Ranger Samurai has finally gotten his 6th Ranger, which means that another name has been added to that opening. Great. Anyway, I'm ASD Classified and I'm coming at you with another review of Power Ranger Samurai, episode 11. And I may do 12 too, I'm not sure yet. It's like 3 in the morning over here. For some reason I feel like doing a video right now, but I don't know if I'm going to do both. I mean, guess we'll find out by the end of the video. Yeah. So yeah, episode 11 starts off with a mysterious fisherman walking on the beach carrying fishing equipment and stuff, and he's heading to Samurai City, I don't know, and he's saying that he's basically proclaims that he's finally arrived and it's going to be so golden. Yeah, it's not that deep of a mystery. I mean, I'm sure y'all already know by now. It's Antonio. He's going to be the Gold Ranger. Moving along. So yeah, back at the Shiba household, the Rangers' gap sensor go off, and they go rushing out to where this Nylok is supposed to be at. But to their shock and surprise, they find nothing. Then something like blows across Jaden's face, and he senses this presence. But when the Rangers ask him what's wrong, he says like he sensed this evil, but then it's gone or whatever. And after he says that line, Kevin is making this crazy looking face. I mean, you watch that episode again. He's making this crazy looking face. Like seriously, what kind of acting? Moving on. The Rangers head on back to the Shiba house and they discuss with their worthless mentor how they found no Nylok. And then Antonio shoots an arrow at the house. And they go out and they check it, and attached to the arrow is the sign, and they read it and it says, "See you soon." And they're wondering what it is, and they think it might be the Nylok, but then the worthless mentor tells them that the house is protected with these power symbols that, you know, keep Nylok out. So, but they're still wondering, who shot this arrow? You know, I'm going to give Samurai some credit in this scene. I think they actually handled this scene better than the Japanese version. From what I remember from the Japanese version, I haven't seen it in a while, that their Asian Gold Ranger, he shot the arrow like inside the house and it actually almost hit one of them. You know, I think it's better that they didn't do that because like he's supposed to be a good guy on their team. Why are you trying to kill your teammates? So it's kind of better that he shot it like outside where it wouldn't hit anybody. Makes more sense, doesn't it? So then we cut to this nighttime scene and Jaden is, I guess, practicing like power symbols and stuff, and we see like this eyeball like behind him like floating in this dark cloud, and then Jaden turns around but it's gone, and like he pulls out his phone and he's ready to attack because he senses evil and whatnot, but it's gone. And then the other Rangers show up and they ask him what's going on, and he's like, "I sense evil," and basically acting like he's crazy and like a lunatic at this point because none of the Rangers sense anything. He's the only one that senses this. And then so yeah, he's running, ripping through the whole house trying to find this evil. At this point, everybody's like, "Jaden, you need to cool out, you need to stop." And the worthless mentor even tells him like, "You don't sense nothing, calm down." And then like the monster like blows by him again, and he like uses a power symbol to create a sword, and he tries to slice it, and he almost took out Emily's head. I laughed so hard, especially because of the facial expression she made. That was hilarious. Samurai, kudos to you for having a genuine funny scene because normally your comedy scenes, Okay, eventually Jaden ends up like in one of the bathrooms and he washes his face with some water, and then it's like, he was like, it's gone. Like he didn't sense the evil presence anymore. Key point in the episode. Pay attention to that. The next day, the Rangers minus Jaden went back out to where they were like when the gap sensor went off. I guess it's like the marina or something. They went back there, I guess, to check for clues to see if the Nylok is hanging around there somewhere. So during their search for evil, the Rangers actually passed by Antonio, and he hands out a flyer to Emily, you know, because he's a fisherman and he's trying to sell the fish that he catches. And then Emily notices something familiar. She asks Mimi to hand her like the flyer, you know, from the arrow incident, and they compare both of the flyers, and Emily notices that the handwriting is the same. The Rangers then confront this fisherman and ask him what's really going on. And you know, Antonio's like, "Oh no, you're gonna ruin my golden moment." And then he pulls out like his ice box and has ice cubes fly out, and it tripped all 4 of the Rangers. Yeah, all 4 of the Rangers bust their butts from some ice cubes. Our heroes, ladies and gentlemen. Then Antonio makes his escape, and the other Rangers couldn't catch him because he's so fast. The worthless mentor calls up the Rangers, and he tells them that Jaden has decided to go to this Spring Valley place. So then the Rangers split up. Like, Mikey and Emily go after the fisherman, and Kevin and Mimi go after, JJ to help him out. Okay, the next scene, we see, like, the monster of the day. I think his name was Vopez. And he also has a scene with Octoroo, and, they have, like, corny lines just flying out. Flying corny little one-liners. And basically, the gist of the scene was that we found out that the reason they're spying on the Red Ranger is so they can see him do his, like, sealing character, learn about it more. The stealing character, they can steal all these Nihilaks away and whatever. And during the scene, while they're looking at him, Jaden uses a power symbol to create like this fog, and then he just disappears. And then, Vopez's like, what? He's gone, I'm mad. So he picks up his mirror and then he goes out, to the real world to find him. So yeah, the Nihilak shows up in the real world, and Jaden manages to take the mirror from him and, strike him and crap. And then Kevin and Mimi show up, and then Mimi's talking about, Kevin, this must be the Nihilak that Jaden was sensing this whole time. Really? No, I couldn't realize that. Shut up, girl, shut up. Moving on from that, Jaden explains that the reason that he went to this place is because he realized that water can help block the monster spell. Because, that scene where he splashed water on his face in the bathroom, and he was like, he didn't sense the presence anymore. Yeah, that's the reason why. Water helps fight the spell of the monster. And when he attacked the monster, like, at the lake scene, he actually jumped out of the water. So he was hiding in the ocean, lake, water, whatever, and he jumped out and attacked the monster. So, that was the gist of it. They explained it really convolutedly, but that was just water weakens evil. Mikey and Emily eventually rejoined the team, and all 5 of the Rangers, started to fight the monster, but this monster was not playing around with them. He was not playing with these Rangers, and they could not fight his mystical powers, and he basically kicked their morphers all across that lake, basically. He even forced them to demorph. After the Rangers get beat up, Antonio shows up and he throws a bunch of dead fish. He's like, catch it a day, and it hits the monster and they explode. Yeah, dead fish exploding on the monster. Antonio starts going on about how this is the moment he's been waiting for and it's so golden and stuff, and the other Rangers are just staring at him like, who is this clown, and then he morphs into the Gold Ranger, and they're all still just staring at him, and he's like, what, y'all got nothing to say? What, y'all not impressed? Alright, you need a minute, basically. And then he jumped down there and he was ready to fight the monster, and then he took like this weird stance, and the monster even commented like, what? That is a weird stance. And he just sent Moogers to deal with him. He's like, hey, it may be weird, but it's all mine, baby. And now I'm about to show you. I'm like, what? Yes, lay it on him. I was impressed by the little dialogue. It was cool dialogue, I admit. So the Gold Ranger used his weapon, the Barracuda blade, and he basically put the gold rush on him. Yeah, he just took him out with super speed, baby. And then they like rewind it so they could show it like in slow motion, and show it. And it looked really cool and stuff. So yeah, the Gold Ranger basically handled all the Moogers like by himself, and they shot arrows, and he used super speed to slash all of them, and then he was fighting, and then he was like messing up comically, like he accidentally cut like a bunch of trees and they fell on him. He accidentally fell on his butt, and the other Rangers wanted to come in and help. He was like, no, I got this, I got it. So he handled business. And then he was fighting the monster, and Jaden jumped in briefly, like with some fire attack. And then, he basically like said, you know what, I'm about to finish this, like, and sliced up the monster, and he was dead. Then the monster was not dead, and it grew giant size, and the core 5 Rangers had to call their Megazord, to fight it, and they were losing. And then Antonio was like, I gotta text Octozord, and he has his own Zord. I think it's really a squid, but whatever. It's Octozord now. Okay, and he had to text it. I'm like, okay. So he texted Zord, and it grew big. And all the while, he was throwing out random Spanish words of fantastico, excelente, mi amigo. And you know what? I don't speak Spanish, and, so I may not be right about this, but I'm pretty darn sure. I'm 85% sure that he said excelente wrong. What do you say? Excelente or something. I'm pretty sure he said Excelente wrong, but whatever. So, you know, bing bang boom, the Rangers, you know, defeat the Mars and save the day. And I have to comment that Antonio's Mega Mode looks awesome. I can't not comment on that. It looks awesome. I like it. The gold and black, I like it. It looks good. I don't think I mentioned this. JJ also was recognizing the Octozord. He was like, oh, it can't be. You know, he was recognizing it. Yeah. So after the battle, the Rangers, you know, they were all, you know, on the ground and stuff. They were like, you know what, I'm tired of this crap. Who are you, gold guy and stuff? And then he demorphed. He was like, you know, I'm just here to help because of all the, you know, monster attacks and crap. And then Jaden was like, Antonio, and he had this big old creepy smile, like, ugh, creepy smile. It was, ugh. Whatever, but he finally recognized Antonio, even though he should have recognized him earlier, but whatever, he recognized him. So apparently Jaden and Antonio were childhood friends, and Antonio had to move away, and before he moved away, Jaden actually gave him the Octozord. Pretty cool. Same thing happened to Shinkenger, but still cool. And Antonio promised, you know, when he became the Red Ranger, Antonio, he would come back and, you know, be a samurai too and stuff. Yeah. Then we get to one of the most homoerotic scenes I've ever seen in freaking Power Rangers. I'm like, what? Jaden still, he was like, I can't believe it's you. And then Antonio was like, believe it, baby, I'm back. And I'm ready for action. And he's just moving up to him. I swear it looked like they were about to make out. I swear it did. But, you know, they decided to just spar instead. So they were just sparring and fighting, which is kind of cool. I thought it was kind of random, but it was kind of cool too. They just started sparring, and, you know, he tried to punch Jaden, and Jaden just caught it with, you know, his hand and stuff. And they were fighting. It was pretty cool. And that's basically how the episode ended. You know, the Rangers like, he's awesome. He should join our team, you know, except for Kevin because Kevin's lame. And he was like, no, he shouldn't join. Nah. But everybody else, you know, yeah, he did a good job, and he truly had his golden moment today. So that was episode 11 in a nutshell, and I actually really liked this episode. You know, if you've watched any of my other reviews, then you know that Samurai, it's really not that great for me. I really do not like this season that much. Like, it's really just a mediocre season, and it sucks. I really did want to like this season. I mean, I did a whole freaking countdown for this season, so I really did want to like it, but I just don't. So it's great that I actually enjoyed this episode, and I give it like a 4 out of 5. Now the episode afterward went right back to samurai mediocrity for me, and yeah, I didn't really enjoy it. I'm not gonna make a video about it like right now because I'm tired and my camera about to run out of power and crap. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode, so that's something. What did you guys think? You know, what did you guys, if anybody's watching, you know, leave me a comment. What did you guys think about this episode? What you think about the next episode after that and stuff? What you think about Samurai in general? Anything, you know. And subscribe too if you're watching for the first time and crap. Right. Later.